Hi guys, my name is Mark. Today I'm reviewing the Steelseries Prime Wireless for you. Let's go. So as I said already, we are reviewing the new Prime. It's a new wireless mouse by Steelseries. Basically my first impressions were like, okay, wow, they're doing an ergo mouse again for people who love ergo. And when I remember back, the history of Steelseries was like they made a lot of very competitive mouse. In the early 2000s they made awesome headsets. I remember back to Siberia, the first ones. They did a lot great work. They invented the QCK. QCK was like one of the most sold mousepads in the world, I think. It's like an old gold standard, not for now anymore, but back in the days QCK was nuts. I had a lot QCK heavies. I loved them, but now I think they're outdated. And at one point I think Steelseries lost the connection to the roots. In my opinion, Steelseries roots were designing products for people who enjoy playing games, who maybe perform on a pro level or on a high tier level or semi-professional level, and make this also accessible for everyone else who is not so skilled or not so into gaming, who just want to stick with products which are used by pros. I think one of the last mouse they did was the Sensei, not this one. I think the one before was more pro level, because this one was already with an LCD down here. So it was the last one I really bought and really played, as you can see on the coating. And I just took it out here for this review and realized, okay, was really good for this time. For example, they had a rubber side, so were not in need of grips, for example. And when I touched the mouse, I think the handling is very nice. Also the weight distribution was good for this time, and this was one of the last good ones they made, in my opinion, for the time everyone else was doing a mouse for gaming. And now they make this. That's the Prime. One thing that comes in the normal Steelseries box with normal packaging, with the USB dongle, the connector, and apparently a good paracord for the dongle. I don't know why. It also has a good length, so it's a nice one. The mouse is coated. My copy brings 81 gram on the scale. The clicks are optomagnetic clicks, switches, and the glides are PTFE. They're not very thick, and I think the rounding is also not very good in my opinion, but they made them there, and they are not too big. And yeah, the weight distribution of the mouse is that the most weight on movement you feel is like here in front of the sensor. If you play this mouse palm or fingertip grip, you will realize that the sensor is more in the back of the middle of your hand, which basically means, or behind your ring finger, which basically means for you that the DPI settings you feel in game for a left-right flick, for example, so for an horizontal movement, is lower than you maybe get used to by other mouse, because the sensor of them is more in front. The more the sensor of a mouse is in the back of the mouse or in the back of your hand, the lower the field DPI or CPI for a horizontal movement feel. So that's one thing I feel here. That's the DPI 1600 DPI, and in-game sense of 1 in Apex Legends feel very slow. But that's okay. One major issue in my feeling is that one thing is the presetted DPI and polling rates are kind of weird for me. You get a book, Steelseries, which basically shows you the pre-adjusted DPI, CPI settings, and the polling rate. Polling rate is normal, 125, 250, 500 to 1000 hertz. There's no way you can get it above 1000 hertz. That's okay for me. But one thing is the presetted DPIs are like 400, 800. That's okay. That's really standard. Then it comes 1200. I have no clue. I only know 1600. Next one is 2400. And the fifth one is 3200 dpi, which basically gets indicated by the mouse wheel. The color shows you which DPI you have chosen. I already set it up, the DPI levels. For me is, for example, purple is 400 DPI, blue is 800 DPI, and green is 1600 DPI. After it's accepted, the color switches to the running mode, to the color you have set it when the mouse is running. So one thing here is, so for me it was not usable out of the box because my DPI settings were not included. So I have to install a 200 megabyte big software, which basically is for every product of Steelseries, for headsets, for mouse, for everything. And which also brings me to a weird fact, what one was found in here. It's like you can still have this angel snapping stuff. So a wave gets to a linear movement, for example. If you have like a jitter in it, it flattens the jitter out and makes a linear movement out of it, which basically gives you a delay in-game. So feels like you have a higher input lag on your mouse by movement. So I would no one recommend to do this. Another thing I was realizing when I watched the software is like they have in Germany, it's called Hochleistungsmodus. It's basically a performance mode. But the explanation for the performance mode is if you switch the performance mode on, the battery life gets longer. Huh? Makes no sense to me. Normally, if I switch something into performance mode, it consumes more power, more energy, whatever. And it would mean, so the meaning would be for me that the battery life will get shorter because performance mode is on. For example, my sensor will never stop scanning or whatever it makes. So battery life would be shorter, not longer. So makes no sense for me. I switch it to off and I did not try it on. Another thing you can't control is the debounce time. There's no way you can control debounce time, but as it is an optomagnetic switch, debounce should be 0 because it's optical basically and not a mechanical switch. And the other thing is you can't set the lift-off distance. Also, I think one major problem here is when I read all the specifications and the claims of Steelseries they made. Basically, they have a lot of what can I say it? Explanations on the website for the sensor. They call it a true move air sensor. They say quantum 0.0 wireless, dual channel optimized. Whatever. Basically, these exclamations all show you that they are not want to really explain or show a customer which real sensor is in it. And no, I did not check on some data sheets or other websites which sensor it really is. I think it's a 3370 maybe. I have no idea. And I don't want to check it because I want to show you how it would be if you just would order the mouse. You would have no clue which sensors in. Maybe it's only a 3335 where we know there's a lot of these sensors have high DPI problems. So if you change DPI to 400, it can be 390 or 410 or whatever. But they don't tell you because they just make it like a trade name. So they just call it True Move Air. So is it my job as a customer to Google what they mean with True Move Air? Okay, they say it has 800 CPI, 400 IPS, and makes 40 G acceleration. So basically, for me, it's a 3370 or an 3389, which is like a 3380 or something like that. But it's not your job. They should tell you what is in. They should really tell you, because you pay 140 euro in Europe for a mouse, which is the newest one by the brand, by the company, and which basically, for me, it's like it's their job to clarify which product and which sensors, which switches, whatever, everything which is important on this mouse, they should clearly tell you. Not like making a name out of it to just say like Glorious with the bump sensor. Bro, what the fuck? They just bought a Pixar sensor and make like this glue over it and call it, or make the housing on it and wrote bump on it. And some people teared it off and say, okay, it's a 3335 or whatever it was, I don't know, or 3360. Makes no sense, guys. It's like wasted time and wasted money, in my opinion. Which brings me to another point. If you compare this to the competition, it's way too heavy. It's 81 gram. Okay, it's an L-sized mouse, which is basically meant for ergonomic palm or claw grip, because you can't fingertip grip it, or I can't fingertip it by a hand from 11 to 18. There's no way I can do it. And if I compare it to the competition, even if I compare it to the in-house competition, which is for me the Aerox 3 wireless, which is, if I compare it to this one, is a solid mouse for 30 euro less, which is also very expensive with 110 euro. My opinion is that the overpricing on this one and the lack of real innovations and the high weight is not like, there's no way you should pay 140 euro for this one. Because if you compare it to the rest of the competition, for example, G Pro Superlight, which basically you can get for the same price now. I think if sometimes you can get it on Spain, Amazon for 105 or 110 euro, as much as I know. It weighs like nearly 20 gram less. It's also wireless. We have Razer Orochi, which cost the half, or nearly, no, sorry, not the half. It costs like 79 euro in Europe, which is basically, if you compare it, it's 20 gram lighter. The clicks are organic, they feel organic because this is a work from Kaihl they done together with Razer. The glides are good, they're thick, they're good rounded. You also can order eSport Tiger glides already now. You can mod it to 50 gram. Basically, you can fingertip grip, and the shape is more usable for more people, in my opinion. But here you have like a mouse, which is for me not a real gaming mouse, which is basically is for me like you do your home office, you scroll YouTube, you buy on Amazon, whatever, and sometimes you game. Because when I compare to all the competition, everyone out of the competition, even if it's in Ninjutsu, which is also an ergonomic mouse, which weighs 18 gram less than this one, everyone of the competition is aiming for less weight and still try to have a high performance for gaming, which I don't feel on the Steelseries here. For me, it's like they just aimed for making a mouse with good claims, so they call it ultra fast prestige OM switches. Okay, I have no idea if they are the first with optomagnetic switches, but the click feeling on these optomagneticals is like, they feel how you hear it. It's like there's zero organic feeling in it. If I take an Aerox, for example, from C-Series, click feels organic. Maybe it's not the best click in the world, but feels way more organic. You can click it everywhere here, and it gives you a real click feeling. So you will have like, there's a way for you to, even if you palm grip is, to make like a muscle memory or a memory state where you always know how much pressure or force you need to click it. On these Optos here, I don't know. I know they will have zero latency because they're optical, but the click feeling is like zero. That's one thing. And everyone in the competition for mouse you can buy Ninjutsu, you can buy Aerox 3, you can buy Superlight, you can buy Razer Orochi. You can't buy Hati S wireless, that's okay. I can tell you from my side now, from the information I got today, you will not buy it in the next 3 months somewhere. No one will have it. Just tell you, for now. The way they did this is for me just, I don't know. I don't see a reason to buy this mouse for no one, because I was playing Apex with it. And one problem is on the fast pad and on the control pad, there's like the weight, the 80 gram, when you want to move it. So you want to start the glide, the movement. There's like, you have to bring a high amount of force on the mouse to get it into moving. So it's like the point where it starts to move will need to bring up a lot of force in front before the initial moving is starting, which makes it like for small micro corrections, or when you hold an angle and you want to snap after someone moves out of the zone where you hold the angle or whatever, or you want to track him, it will make it very difficult for you, because your movement will start very late, because first you have to bring this 80 gram into movement, which makes it slow at the beginning. And then the other problem will be, if you change the direction back, you have to stop the mouse and bring it into movement again, or you have to move a little bit faster because you start sprinting or whatever, or moving faster on any reason, and you have to higher the speed. The problem then is, if you want to stop the mouse, then the 80 gram will make it very, very hard for you to have a good stop point, to have a good tracking. Problem is, the more the mouse is weighing, the more problems you will get on good micro correction aim. And now people will tell me, yeah, but I play 400 dpi, low sense, I move the mouse a lot anyway the whole day. You play like this the whole arm the whole day. That's okay for you, you can do it. That's like back to 2012, I don't know, when Counter-Strike was big, like all the big majors, everyone was playing like this. I know, you have a control pad, which is so slow, I would think my mouse is stopping on it from itself, but why you play this control pad? I can tell you why you play this control pad, and it's super low sense. There are two reasons. The weight of your mouse, and the other one is, if you would play a faster pad, you would not be able to stop, flick or control anything without a pad. And if you think about it, it costs you a lot of time. Flicking, moving, tracking, you only can hold angle with this, because you have a heavy mouse and a slow pad. That's one major issue. It was like, if you see the things you can do today with light mice, fast pads or faster control pads with a more linear glide, you can do way more. You can do better tracking, better flicks. Because of the light mice, you can do better stopping. Also, you can do also better flicks. You can do better micro correction, because if the pad has less friction and your mouse is lighter, your ability to micro correct your aim is way higher than you would do on a very slow control pad with a heavy mouse. So that's another reason why there is zero feel for this one on games. As like if you enjoy this playing games, it's okay for me. I don't say anything. But for me, guys, try to spend less money. For example, buy a Orochi if you really want to buy a wireless. Play this one, try it, give it a try. Get a light battery, so you play it at around 65 gram. Try some different grip styles, try a loose fingertip claw, whatever, relaxed claw or claw palm mix, whatever. So you can play a little bit out of the fingers, try a little bit faster pad. Maybe you just try, for example, a 350 CS from Corsair, which is a little bit faster but still has control, or you play an Equate, for example, from X-Ray pad. Try this and compare to your old setup with a heavy mouse and a control pad. You will realize after 5 to 7 days that your aim will drastically improve because of the secureness you get and of the more abilities you can gain by playing this combination. So, but one thing is, what is, in my opinion, is a good thing on this product is, for example, the way they manage the wireless dongle and the connector for the wireless dongle and the extension cable. They made a good paracord extension cable, which is in a box, which has a good length. Then there is the connection dock. It's this one. You can basically put it on the desk and it has like a rubber on it, so there's like a non-slip. And the connection is very easy. When you use the mouse the first time with the software will force you to update the dongle at first. After you updated the dongle, you need to update the mouse, then it resets, and basically then you are able to use the mouse. I have no idea why. The mouse is like 1 day old or something like that and always needs to firmware update on the dongle and on the mouse. Maybe I have no clue. And one other thing is that I have no idea about Quantum 2.0 wireless dual channel. Basically for me it's 2.5 gigahertz with a channel switching technology. Every good one like Logitech or Razer, everyone has it. It's like if you are playing and there is a signal on the same range of frequency, your mouse is transferring to the dongle, it just switches the channel. So there's no interference anymore. It's not like Quantum 2.0 wireless, whatever, guys. It's like this. It's the same like the TrueMove Air. It's like, let me check it. I will tell you what TrueMove Air is. So I was just checking for you this TrueMove Air sensor. It's a 140 euro mouse, remember this? And the Aerox wireless has the same sensor. It's basically a PixArt 3335 with a high DPI variation on a lot of settings. For example, on 1600 DPI, it's like plus 30 or plus 40 DPI, as much as I know. And I have no clue how a 140 euro mouse has a 3335 sensor, which is basically meant for a mouse which costs around 70 to 90 euro, so 50 to 60 euro less. I have no idea how a product which is for me in the highest price range of wireless mouse has such a bad sensor in it. If we compare it, Logitech has a better sensor, as much as I know. The 60 euro cheaper Orochi has the same sensor, and or no, it not has the same sensor. It has a sensor which is close to it. The sensor is a little bit better. It's something a 3360 wireless mod, whatever. So, but basically, I have no clue why there's a 3335 in it. I have these numbers from Computer Base, which basically is a very big site for information about mouse and everything. And yeah, that's not a good sign in my opinion. And on Tech Power Up, for example, they show that the wireless, the Rival 3 or the Rival 3 wireless headers has the same sensor. And for example, DPI variation on 400 DPI was plus 40. So if you set 400 DPI, you played 440. If you played 800, you played 880. And on 1600, you played 1680 DPI instead of 1600, which is only a problem with this sensor. And it's basically a problem on every mouse with this sensor. If any wireless has this sensor, it basically has a higher or lower amount of DPI variation all the time. So, which basically brings me to a conclusion. This is a heavy mouse with an old, not very good sensor, which they just made a trademark name for, to just not show you which sensor really is in it. With a big software you need, which is like about 200 megabyte, which in my opinion would be not necessary if they just switch some things on this mouse. And there is no way I would say you can use this or you should use this for gaming. You can use it for office work or whatever, but it's way too expensive for this. So I have only few good words for this one. It's like the shape is okay. It's a different shape. The coating is good, but the rest is like, there's no way I would say, guys, buy this mouse. So if you have any questions about this, or I forgot something, or I understood something wrong or something like that, just let me know in the comments, please. As you see, I'm not very satisfied, so thanks for watching anyway. See you soon.